Hey there, thanks so much for watching. This is our second of 2 flag player videos brought to you by Lisa. I'll talk more about Lisa later in the show. What are the flag players? For many years, I've been planting a flag on 10 players before the season. It's just way too easy to say that you love every player. My goal is to give you some players that you can consider picking all over your draft board, but to be disciplined and hold myself to finding value versus ADP on a limited number of guys. If you haven't seen our first flag player video, counting down numbers 10 through 6, that video is also on our channel. Today's job is to count down 5 through 1. Number 5 on my flag players this year, I sure have talked about him a lot on the podcast. It's Chase Brown, second-year running back for the Bengals. When I watched film for the Harris Football Player Profile Almanac this summer, Brown was probably the most surprising revelation. By the way, if you'd like to get my almanac to help with your draft prep, check it out, harrisfootball.com. Chase Brown did pop on film for me. He's 5'9", but he's 215 pounds. Really great speed. I think good contact balance. Maybe you're saying to yourself, wait, didn't the Bengals also add Zach Moss when they let Joe Mixon go? And yes, they did. But he's Zach Moss. I just feel like we know what Moss is. This is probably a best case for Chase Brown. Do I think it's sure thing that Brown is the pure lead back by the end of the year? Absolutely not, but I don't have to draft him that way. He goes outside the top 100 in almost all the drafts I do. I get him all the time in the 9th round of a 12-team draft, and I will love it. I will stash him away. At number 4, much higher on the draft board, I'm taking the shot with Stefon Diggs. I understand that my top 10 rank among fantasy wideouts this year for Diggs is out of step with how actual fantasy drafts are going. And in fact, Diggs is going like late 3rd round, sometimes even 4th. So forget my rank for a minute. Take him in the 3rd, even better, to get him in the 4th. I watched a ton of film on Diggs this summer. I just don't see a drop-off. I know he was the number 2 receiver in fantasy through like 6 or 7 weeks last year, number 35 from that point forward. There's, of course, risk. I just didn't see a lack of separation or speed or effort. I saw a lack of targets. It's hard to know why. There's certainly risk, but with this move to Houston, there are other receivers who are going to get attention. If you're making the too many mouths to feed argument, okay, except that really only works with a guy you're expecting to do 100 yards and a touchdown every single week, which is only like 6 or 7 guys. Stefon Diggs used to be that. We're not expecting it this year. Every receiver you're taking in the 3rd or 4th round is going to ebb and flow and have ups and downs. I just think Diggs is too good a player to not have a bunch of big weeks in that Houston offense, so he gets a flag planted on his fantasy stock for 2024. A quick break to thank Lisa for sponsoring us again. If you've been waking up stiff and sore, if you've been putting off getting a new mattress for a while, but you know it's time, Lisa has sponsored for nearly a decade, and I have slept on a Lisa mattress all that time, and I absolutely love it. Get a Lisa delivered direct to your door. They'll give you 100 nights to sleep on it to make sure it's perfect for you. If you don't love it, tell them. They'll come pick it up, no questions asked, and they'll give you a refund. If it's time for a new mattress, they are an American company. It's an American factory. They've donated thousands of beds to homeless shelters. Really good company, really great mattress. And if you go to lisa.com/Harris, I can get you 25% off your new mattress with 2 free pillows. LEESA.com/Harris. Thank you to Lisa so much for sponsoring. Okay, back to the flag list. Again, looking for guys we can find all over our draft board. Not that you must draft every single one we mention in these 2 flag player videos, but hopefully we're giving you options all over your board. Number 3 on my list, I have Javante Williams of the Broncos. Did you know that of the 5 running backs in Denver, Javante Williams is the only one Sean Payton didn't acquire? Yes, I did know that, but did you know that Javante Williams is the only one who's good? I'm not expecting the Broncos to hand their backfield over to one guy. That's not really the NFL anymore. Williams is going to split time with Jaleel McLaughlin and Samaje Perine, probably. Williams is also good. He's going in the 8th round. It's just too late. Am I calling him a game wrecker or a by himself league winner? I am not. But he's going really far down on draft boards. I love taking him to lock in a safe flex option, and then we'll just see how Denver's offense progresses through the season. Because at number 2, I have another Bronco. It's Clarence Sutton. He joins the later round players among the flag players this year. Sutton is winding up 9th or 10th round at the earliest. In some drafts, people just forget about him, and he goes even later than that. It's a chance to give ourselves another reminder. We are wrong about offensive environments all the time. Remember last year when you didn't want any Texans because, my God, what an offensive disaster they were going to be. Remember 2 years ago, everyone said you can't pick Seahawks. They were obviously going to be one of the worst offenses in the league. We're bad at this. And when the cost is a draft pick in the second half of your draft, and you get a guy who scored 10 touchdowns last year, many of which were of the insane acrobatic variety, please don't tell me that Sutton is undraftable because of his offensive environment. People might say, well, he can't do 10 touchdowns on only 59 catches, and that's probably true. It's not likely. But that's why Sutton goes so late in drafts. That's already baked into the price. Sutton finished as the number 28 receiver in fantasy last year. If we were positive he'd do another 10 touchdowns on 59 catches, he'd be going in the 5th round. Bo Nix is probably the starter. Okay, Russell Wilson was awful last year. I'm not even willing to call this a quarterback downgrade. I will have Sutton on a lot of teams as a bench player this year. And finally, that leads me to my number 1 flag player for 2024. And I could easily have picked among a few different running backs who are all going in the same neighborhood. One of my sons, Josh Jacobs, started to see his ADP climb up a little bit. It's maybe up into the 2nd round now. I still like the price, but it's maybe not quite the value it was earlier in the summer. Alvin Kamara, he's usually going in the 4th. I think that's great value. But my number 1 flag player is another Texan. It's Joe Mixon, probably because he's going lowest in that crowd. I can see him sometimes going in the 4th and maybe even the 5th round, which seems like absurd value to me. In years where he's stayed healthy, Joe Mixon has only ever finished as an RB1 for fantasy. He was the number 3 back for fantasy 3 years ago. He finished number 6 last year. He moves to Houston. I didn't think he showed much wear in his power edge last year. Still great near the goal line. It should be a good offense. For sure, there have been some late career team switchers at running back who have busted. Le'Veon Bell with the Jets, Todd Gurley with the Falcons. I don't see signs on film with Joe Mixon, and at his price, I love grabbing him, and I will also take Jacobs and or Kamara. If I decide to take Diggs, maybe I won't also double up on Mixon, but I've got options for sure. And that right there is our flag player list for 2024. Remember, if you did not see our 10 through 6 flag video, check that out. Also available right now on our channel. And let us know down in the comments, what do you think of our flag players? And who would be your must-draft guys at their current ADPs? We would love to know. Remember, if you're starting to do your draft prep for the next couple of weeks, you can find the almanac at harrisfootball.com. And most of all, I thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.